The shadows of Owerri. Owerri was a city of lights and music. At night, the streets glowed with the shine of car headlights and the bright colors of bar signs. From the busy Douglas Road to the quiet lanes of Aledima, life seemed normal on the surface. But under that surface, another story lived, one that people only whispered about behind closed doors. The whispers always came with the same names: Chief Emeka, Chief Enyangyu, Chief Aichi, Chief Ajoka, Chief Okochi, Chief Ozo, Chief Ego. Each one of them was known in the city for their wealth, their influence, and their power. And above them all was a man called Mr. Rochas Luke, a tall, sharp-looking man with a deep voice and a smile that could be both warm and cold in the same second. They were the kings of Owerri's nightlife, the kind of men who walked into a place and made everyone stand aside. Nobody ever asked too many questions about where their money came from. You didn't ask questions in Owerri, not about them. They had foreign friends too, business partners from faraway places, especially from India. It was said that strange shipments left the city at night, and money poured in by morning. Nobody knew the details, but everyone understood enough to stay silent. On a Friday evening, the city was alive. Music from street DJs mixed with the honking of cars. People stood in small groups, talking and laughing. Then came the roar of engines, long, deep, expensive roars. Mercedes 200 flatboot. Lexus LX 570. BMW X6. The convoy moved slowly, as if the road belonged to them. They stopped right in the middle of Wetora Road. Drivers behind them waited patiently. Nobody honked. Nobody complained. In Owerri, you didn't disturb the chiefs. The men stepped out of their cars, each dressed in expensive traditional attire, gold chains shining on their necks. They shook hands, laughed loudly, and spoke in a language only they seemed to understand. Traffic piled up behind them, but no police officer dared to tell them to move. People on the sidewalks watched quietly. Some admired them. Others feared them. In a city where so many struggled, these men lived like kings. But the streets also had long memories, and everyone remembered the names of the people who had gone missing over the years. Mama Ifeoma, who sold roasted plantain near Fire Service Junction, had her own story. Her nephew, Chike, had gone missing 3 years ago. One day he went to deliver goods to a customer in New Owerri and never returned. The police had no answers. Friends told her quietly to forget about it. Don't push it, Mama Ifeoma. It's better to be quiet. She understood what they meant. Stories like that floated through Owerri like harmattan dust, everywhere, but impossible to catch. People spoke of certain night gatherings in mansions with tall gates. They said expensive cars came and went, and strangers with foreign accents were seen slipping in through side doors. But in public, the chief smiled and gave out gifts during Christmas. They donated to churches. They sponsored music shows. Top musicians in Owerri sang their praises in tracks that played on the radio every weekend. Their faces appeared on posters for charity events. They were untouchable. At the far end of a quiet street in New Owerri stood a mansion surrounded by high fences and cameras that never blinked. This was the home of Mr. Rochas Luke. The walls were painted white, but at night, they glowed golden under rows of bright lights. It was said that his compound never truly slept. Trucks arrived at odd hours. Sometimes, foreign cars with tinted windows drove in and didn't come out until morning. Men in suits guarded the gates, their faces expressionless. Rochas himself was rarely seen in public during the day. But when he did appear, maybe at a high-end hotel lounge, or at a charity fundraiser, he wore designer suits and spoke with the confidence of a man who owned the ground he walked on. His connection with the chiefs was not a secret. They called him a chairman. Life in Owerri went on this way until 3 men decided to break the silence. Mr. Oduka of Early Rise newspaper was a tall, steady man with the patience of a hunter. He was known for digging deep into stories others avoided. Mr. Ikuku of Dawn News was quick in both speech and movement. He had once exposed election malpractice and survived weeks of silent threats. And there was Mr. J. Anyamo, an independent journalist with nothing but a small desk, an old laptop, and the will to write what others feared to publish. Unknown to each other, the three journalists were chasing the same story: the high level of disappearances in Owerri, the strange activity in certain hotels, and the shadowy network of men behind it all. Their investigations took them to hidden offices, back entrances of luxury hotels, and late-night meetings with frightened informants. They discovered that almost all the major hotels in Owerri were owned by the same group, the powerful chiefs. These hotels had floors and rooms that ordinary guests never saw. Witnesses spoke, in hushed tones, of people arriving and never leaving. As their notes grew, so did the list of names. It wasn't just the chiefs. The chain reached higher, into government offices, traditional palaces, police stations, and even church altars. Certain traditional rulers, senior police officers, and respected clergymen were all connected to the same network. After weeks of work, their findings were ready. 2 days later, the city woke to horror. On a cold morning, the bodies of Mr. Uduka and Mr. Ikuku were found in a gutter along Okigu Road, shockingly close to the government house. Their work never reached the public. But Mr. Anyamo, known for his caution and ability to disappear from public view, had left Owerri the night before. From Lagos, he acted fast. Within a week, his report appeared on more than 10 independent news blogs. To the shock of many, he also published the full findings of the two murdered journalists. Names, locations, business links, all laid bare for the public to see. Owerri buzzed with anger and disbelief. But Mr. Anyamo knew Lagos was not safe either. Within days, he boarded a flight to the United Kingdom. The government dismissed the report as mere watery allegations and called on him to return home to defend his claims. Everyone knew it was a trap. He ignored them. But the people's anger was building like a storm. The storm broke when little Ike, a 5-year-old boy, went missing. 2 days later, his body was found. His vital organs were gone. The city erupted. Crowds gathered without planning, driven by pure rage. They marched straight to one of the largest hotels in Owerri, owned by Chief Emeka. Inside a locked room, they found a small skull on the floor and a man named Okoko, long rumored to be the chief's enforcer. His trembling confession led the march. The hotel went up in flames. The mob swept through the city, destroying properties linked to the chiefs. Many of them were caught and killed in the chaos. But Chief Emeka and Chief Enyanwu escaped, fleeing abroad with the help of Mr. Rochel's Luke and their foreign partners, who gave them safe haven. When the fires died down, Owerri stood in ashes and silence. The government called for calm, but the people knew they had taken justice into their own hands. Somewhere in the UK, Mr. Anyamo read the news and knew the shadows of Owerri had finally been dragged into the light, at least for now. But in a city like Owerri, shadows have a way of returning.